Hi girls, I hope you're staying safe at home. So let's start a new chapter today, that is diseases, the cause and control. You all know disease means you no longer have normal health, good health, and the normal functioning of the body is disturbed. So sometimes these conditions are not so serious and you get cured, but sometimes the condition is so serious it may also be fatal, that is, it leads to death. So to define disease is a departure from normal health through structural or functional disorder of the body. So long time back, when people were not so much educated, they thought that a disease was an act of God or evil spirits, and they used magical methods and sorcery for the treatment of the disease. You must have heard about it, isn't it? But nowadays we have progressed so much, we know that every disease is a condition which has a definite cause and it is possible to prevent it or to cure it. Okay, so to make people conscious and become healthy and disease free, the World Health Day is celebrated on April 7th. Now there are different types of diseases, there are different categories. Okay, so what are they? First is the extent of occurrence, whether it is endemic, epidemic, pandemic, and sporadic. Next is communicability, whether it is infectious, caused due to germs, or it is non-infectious due to the body's poor functioning. Next is kind of pathogens. What is the disease? Whether it is caused by bacteria, virus, protozoa, or some other type of germs. Okay, and the kinds of transmitting agents, whether it is airborne, waterborne, foodborne, or insect borne. Okay, now categories of diseases based on extent of occurrence. First is endemic diseases. Okay, when the disease is found in a certain area only, attacking a fewer number of people, like yellow fever in certain African countries, goiter in sub-Himalayan regions. That is, it is not widespread. Okay, next is epidemic diseases, when the disease breaks out and spreads from place to place, affecting large numbers of people at the same time, like plague in India in 1994. From Surat it had started and it had spread to many other parts of India. Okay, and pandemic, I don't think I have to tell you what pandemic means, because right now we are living in a pandemic, that is COVID-19, the coronavirus. So this disease has spread throughout the world. Okay, so we had to learn only AIDS. Now you can also add COVID-19 to it. Okay, which has spread worldwide, that is, it has become pandemic. Next is sporadic diseases, when they are scattered cases here and there. Okay, malaria, cholera, when it has spread, it is not like spreading over a vast place, but here and there when it is scattered. Okay, so this is known as sporadic diseases. Now the categories of diseases based on communicability. So diseases can be classified into two categories: non-communicable, which is non-infectious, and communicable, which is infectious. Now non-communicable or non-infectious disease, like in this case there are no germs which will spread from person to person, okay, by contact or through air or by any other method. So these are non-transmissible, like diabetes, color blindness, heart attack, beriberi. And these are, beriberi is a disease which is caused by certain nutrient deficiency, mineral deficiency, vitamin deficiency. Diseases are non-communicable. Okay, now communicable or infectious disease, you know what infectious disease, the coronavirus is infectious, it is passing from person to person. So these diseases are caused by germs. The germs reach from an infected person to a healthy person, and that is how the disease spread to the healthy person as well. Okay, so these disease causing germs, maybe bacteria, virus, protozoa, they are known as pathogens, and their transmission from one person to another person is known as infection. Now an infectious disease, does not appear immediately after the infection. Now if you like you've heard about it right now, okay, you have to stay in quarantine for 14 days. That is immediately if the virus is a person is affected by the virus, the the symptoms are not shown immediately, but it takes some time, from a few hours to a few days, until the symptoms are shown. So this period is known as the incubation period. Okay, examples of communicable diseases are cholera, smallpox, malaria, etc. And now non-infectious disease, even though it is not in the syllabus, just remember children, nutritional deficiency, if you have less vitamins or minerals in your body, there are disease, beriberi, scurvy, goiter, kwashiorkor, night blindness, okay, and metabolic disease, diabetes, goiter, genetic disease, hemophilia, thalassemia, allergies, hay fever, asthma, degenerative diseases, arthritis, cataract. These are non-infectious, that is, it does not pass from person to person. And sometimes there may be mental illness like depression, schizophrenia, okay, and of course cancer. You've heard about cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer, leukemia, okay. So these are all diseases which is not transferred from person to person. Now, communicable or infectious diseases. The infectious diseases are always caused by a germ, and the disease causing organism or the germ is known as a pathogen. Actually, pathos means disease, gen means producing. So, disease producing organism. The pathogens include a wide variety of organisms. Okay, so here you can see bacteria causes cholera, typhoid, tuberculosis, and bacterial diseases can be treated by means of antibiotics. Okay. Next is viruses, AIDS, chickenpox, hepatitis, and of course I told you to add COVID-19 as well. Okay, and protozoan diseases, malaria, amoebic dysentery, sleeping sickness, and helminths or worms. If you get worms in your abdomen, ascariasis, teniasis, filariasis, these are all worms which live in our body and cause different diseases. So your first assignment for today is to write down this table. Okay, as we go along I will tell you what to do. Now, incubation period, as I already told you children, it is the period between the entry of germs and the appearance of the first symptoms of the disease. That is, the virus or the germs will enter the body. As soon as it enters, what will happen? The disease will not be seen. It will take some hours, some days, or maybe weeks, or even months, or even years before the disease is shown in the body. So that is known as the incubation period of the germs. That is, it will stay in the body for some amount of some days. Okay, so here you can see for pneumonia, after the germs enter the body, the disease will be seen after between 1 to 3 days, diphtheria 2 to 5 days, cholera 2 to 6 days, tetanus 4 to 20 days, gonorrhea 5 to 10 days, poliomyelitis 7 to 14 days, typhoid 7 to 21 days, measles 10 to 12 days, smallpox 7 to 12 days, whooping cough 10 to 15 days, mumps 12 to 26 days, chickenpox 14 to 21 days, rabies, if you are bitten by a mad dog, the symptoms will be seen after 1 month. Okay, and leprosy up to several years, and just see AIDS is seen after 12 or more years also. That is, the incubation period of the germs is that long. Now, all infectious disease, they have a certain incubation period. Now, incubation periods, okay, we just discussed here in this table from the shortest to the longest. Now, diseases caused by bacteria. Now, the different types of bacteria, uh, there are different types of bacteria. Okay, there are different shapes, different sizes. Okay, and these bacteria are so small that we cannot see with our naked eyes. So there are various diseases caused by bacteria. The first is cholera. Now, this disease attacks the intestinal tract. That is, it goes and stays in the intestines. Okay, and it is causative agent is a bacteria called Vibrio cholerae. It is very important. Okay, this is the causative agent, the germ which causes cholera. And what is the incubation period? Few hours to 6 days. So what are the symptoms? Vomiting and loose motion. So because there is lots of loss of water, there is very less or no urination because of the shortage of water in the body. Okay, so what happens as a result? Urea, which is supposed to be thrown out from the urine, it accumulates in the body, it stays in the body, which is poisonous. So the patient may die if not treated properly and promptly. So the treatment, how do you treat it? Saline water must be injected to supply water to the blood. Okay, the cholera germ is spread through food and water, contaminated food. The contamination results due to dust and by direct transport through flies. So when fly sits on, dirty places where the cholera germ thrives, it carries the the pathogens. So the flies sit on excreta or the feces of the patient, and it carries the germs which stick to their spiny legs and body. You know how it transmits diseases, we did that in the last chapter. So it carries the germs to the exposed food that is eaten up by the mouth. So how can we prevent? By following good sanitation, by killing flies, keeping the food and cut fruits properly so that the flies do not sit on them, and drinking boiled water, eating well cooked food, and immunization by taking anti-cholera injections. Okay, now next, you all have heard typhoid. Okay, its major symptom is continuous fever which rises in the afternoon, and there are reddish eruptions, okay, small, you'll see on the chest and abdomen. And what is the causative germ or the causative agent? It is Salmonella typhi. Okay, this is very important. It is a flagellated bacterium which goes and again attacks the intestines. The patient again passes out germs in its excreta. Again, when flies sits on the excreta and goes and contaminates the food, particularly milk, then the disease spreads. Now, the incubation period is 7 to 12 days. After a person recovers, that is in about 2 to 3 weeks, the patient becomes very weak. Okay, and relapse is not uncommon. Relapse means again you'll get typhoid, so you may get typhoid over and over again. So some people after recovery are carriers of the disease, they will still have the germs in their body. So chloromycetin is the name of the antibiotic which is given to a person who is suffering from typhoid. So how do we prevent typhoid? Anti-typhoid inoculation, again vaccination should be repeated every year, and of course proper sanitation and control of flies also reduces the chances of the diseases. Okay, now next is tuberculosis. It is the disease of the lungs, although other parts including the brain, kidney and bones may also be affected. It is caused by a rod-shaped bacterium. Okay, the causative agent is Mycobacterium tuberculosis, and it is spread by sputum, spit from the infected person. That means it is airborne. Okay, the germs are carried by air or dust. Incubation period is 2 to 10 weeks. In the body, the surrounding tissues form a kind of wall or tubercle around the germ. So once the germ enters the body, it goes and embeds itself in the tissues, and a wall is formed around the germ. Okay, so around the bacteria. So what happens? It is known as the tubercle. So from there only the name arises, tuberculosis. The germs are widespread, found almost everywhere, and everyone receives them. Most people overcome minor infections, but if the body's resistance is low, the disease becomes very severe. It requires treatment in its early stages. Okay, so the antibiotic used is known as streptomycin, which does not allow the growth of the bacteria. Inhibits means it stops the growth of the bacteria. So what is the prevention? BCG vaccine has been found useful in developing immunity for tuberculosis. Of course, this vaccine you take when you are very small, okay? And remember, March 24th is observed as Anti-Tuberculosis Day. Now, another assignment for today is this table. You will write down the name of these three diseases, the incubation period, mode of transmission, symptoms, and prevention. Okay, and you will submit it as usual day after tomorrow. So for today, children, I will stop here. Till then, stay safe. God bless you.